Okay. I'm Mark Richardson. I'm the volunteer technical lead with HousingNowTO.com. We're a volunteer group that tracks the affordable housing progress here in the City of Toronto. We would like to thank the staff for their work on the HousingTO plan progress update for the year. And really this morning, we just want to provide a little bit of additional context from some of our sources to help frame some of the numbers that are in the staff report today. As staff mentioned, there are sort of two sets of numbers that are coming up at the moment. There's the original 40,000 units of housing that was proposed by the city and approved by council back in 2020. You've recently added another 25,000 units to it. So you're now at 65,000 units in total that you'd like to be generating here in the City of Toronto by 2030. That is an incredibly large ask based on where you are now. In addition, there's the 2,500 units of rent geared to income that have been inserted into that. Rent geared to income, we'll talk about it a little bit more. There's a huge gap between what it costs to generate, operate, and maintain a unit and what you can afford to give people as rent on a rent geared to income unit. So we really look at government-supported affordable rental housing, and this chart we find is helpful. Right now, pretty much everybody who is moving into a new unit in the City of Toronto is getting some kind of government assistance, be that first-time home buyers, be that waivers on land transfer tax. The government assistance increases the further you go down the income spectrum, but now people who are earning $120,000, $130,000 a year can qualify for a Habitat for Humanity home, for example. So the longer we wait, the worse this problem gets and the higher that income level grows. Median income in the city is $84,000 as of 2021 census. Most of the people who are in your rent geared to income units at Toronto Community Housing earn about $16,500 a year. They can afford about $425 a month in rent. So there's a huge gap between the people at the lowest level of income and the challenges we're now having with doctors, nurses, teachers, early childhood educators who are trying to start their lives here in the city. We do a lot of work with the folks at the Housing Assessment Resource Tool at UBC. Very important that when we're looking at this data, we're only looking at the census subdivision for the City of Toronto. We're not looking at the full census market area, which goes all the way up to Barrie. A lot of people use the larger area of Toronto in their stats. Income categories, shelter codes and costs. As we said, the average median income is about $85,000, but we have almost 37, almost 38% of people in very low income and moderate income who at most can afford about $1,700 a month for a rental unit. And below that, people in the very low income band can afford that rent geared to income amount at $425 a month. So, you know, 1 in 3, 1 in 4 households in Toronto is having this challenge right now. Rest of the city is doing all right, but even there, the average income is saying that people can afford $2,500 a month. It's hard to find a $2,500 a month market unit now, as Mr. Chong would be able to attest to in a new build, move-in market unit. What is your actual affordable housing deficit? The HART folks say that the City of Toronto's affordable housing deficit for units that would rent below $1,700 a month is 210,000 units. It's not 40,000, it's not 65,000, it's 210,000 units. There's a huge gap there. How do you get to create units that will rent for $1,700 or less a month at the kinds of speed and scale that will deliver 210,000 units? We can talk a little bit about the affordable rental housing pipeline. I see I'm getting short for time. For those of you who are just looking at this number now and some of the numbers that are in the staff reports, we're very concerned by the approved affordable rental units and how it's described. You have to read the waiver that is in the staff materials. When a project is deemed approved, they may still be completing planning approvals. This does not necessarily mean that projects are construction ready. do not count your chickens before they hatch when it comes to affordable housing. The problems are not just at the federal and provincial funding levels. Some of the problems are inside this building as well. The actual number that you're delivering is about 400.
I'm very sorry,
units.
Mark. I
Okay,
gave you
fine.
a few extra seconds.
Yeah, thank you.
Any members have questions? I don't see any. Mark, I do have one for you.
Sure.
In I think it's the first slide or one of the early ones.
Yep.
You were showing the amount of rent
Yep.
that someone on social assistance can afford to
Yep.
pay. Did I see that? Okay. So this is something that's been weighing on my mind. Are we affected, because the Ontario Works and Ontario Disability Support levels are so low, do you think that because that affords us almost no rental income on new builds, that very low payment is actually being a drag on our ability to pencil in new projects?
100%.
So if the province of Ontario were to listen to the calls that people all over Ontario have been making about increasing the social assistance rates, that would help us get more affordable housing built.
Yeah, but it's not just the.
I'm not saying it's the only factor.
No, I'm not saying it's the only factor, but it's not just, the gap is so huge. To build a net new unit here in the City of Toronto through your Housing Now program or one of these co-op programs, to build it, to operate it, to maintain it in state of good repair for 99 years, your rent really is going to be $2,500 a month. So if you're talking about only charging somebody $425 a month for a $2,500 a month apartment,
Yes.
you're having to fill $24,000 a year per unit, backfill that. I don't care where the money comes from the province. I don't care where it comes from philanthropy. I don't care who it comes from. If you don't backfill it, as Mr. Sharma knows, then you end up eating it to state of good repair. And after 40 or 50 years, you're tearing your buildings down like we're doing with TCHC.
That's a lot more answer than I bargained for, Mark.
Well,
Thank
that's
you.
what you get for asking me a question, Councillor.
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Are there any other questions for Mark? No, thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll provide the slides to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Members, we've had a couple